This week you'll be taking a look at exercise 4, which is soil surveys and legal land descriptions. And in your lab manual, you'll be on page 29, exercise 4. So we'll be taking a look at this material, first talking about physical soil surveys and printed soil surveys. And then what we'll do is you'll have an activity where you go to the online soil survey. I think it's really important for you to understand what's going on with a printed soil survey, so that you understand what's available to you in the web soil survey, and it makes a little bit more sense. You need to read through this material, so the information on how soil surveys began, what they are, some of the information that there is in them. I'd like for you to read this, also read this legal land description. This is kind of an important way that we categorize where a piece of property is. So if you find yourself in the eastern United States, you'll be using this this meets and bounds system, and it's a little less, maybe not less precise, but the rectangular. So we'll just go on and say the rectangular survey that's in the most of the western United States is a little more friendly to I don't know, categorization, or it's a little bit easier to teach, at least. So we're going to be talking about that. You can see it was first adopted in 1875. It uses baselines, which are east and west lines, so lines running along the east and west, running east and west in the United States, and then meridians, which are north and south line. Now these are imaginary lines that we draw on a map, but those lines give us a base to say, well, you go X number of townships this way and X number of ranges the other way, and you can find yourself in a particular place. Now this lab manual obviously is from Oklahoma, so they're going to use some examples from Oklahoma where we have the Indian Meridian, the Cimarron Meridian as our north and south meridians, but we'll talk more about that in just a second. Some other things that you need to know: a township. Okay, so there is a township, and a township is composed of 36 square miles. So it's a square, and let's just go ahead and turn over to this page here. You do need to read through this legal land descriptions extension fact sheet, where you'll start to understand what the meaning of a township actually is. In these figures over here, so figure 3, 1, 2, and 3, this shows you roughly. So if we were in Oklahoma, you can see that we have an Indian Meridian here that sort of separates eastern from western Oklahoma, and then we have a baseline here that determines that you can say, well, I'm X number of townships north of the baseline, and I am X number of ranges east of the Indian Meridian. So the way we travel around, even though we've got counties that are not perfectly square, we still have townships and ranges. So if you zoom in and we kind of impose this imaginary grid system on top of a land area, on top of a state, for instance, what you'll see is that we've got, as we zoom in, here's a given meridian, here's a given baseline. And then within that, we've got A township, B township here. And so if we traveled to the A township and zoomed in on that A township, it would look like this. So it would be made up of 36 square miles, so a 6 mile by 6 mile grid. And we number each square mile, and this is called a section. So this right here is a section of land, 1 mile by 1 mile of land. This is 640 acres in total. Okay, and we number it. It's funny how we number it. We number it starting from the upper right-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we kind of snake back and forth all the way down till we get to section 36. So when we look at the maps in a little bit, you'll see that this kind of grid is placed on top of a given map, so that you can say, if I own land here, you can say, well, I'm in section 23 of this particular township, which is township, related to the baseline, something north, and then range east, and we'll see that in a minute. So this is, if we zoomed in even further, if we took let's say we use 23. So if we took section 23 and zoomed in on section 23, so here's our 1 mile by 1 mile section, and we can divide that sections in all sorts of ways. So you might have heard of owning a quarter section of land, and so that's like this here, 160 acres. And we would call this the northwest quarter of section 23. If we had this little parcel down here, we only had a 40-acre parcel, let's say, we might call this parcel the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 23. So again, we're in the, if we took this section and we divided it into quarters, we would be in the southwest quarter, and if we took that quarter and divided it in quarters, we'd be in the southeast quarter of that quarter. So we start from smallest, southeast quarter, that's the smallest version, and we're in the southeast quarter of this quarter, of the southwest quarter of section 23, and then we would describe the township and range as well to give us exactly where we are. So this is before GPS systems existed, and we had this sort of mechanism to tell us where we were on a given landscape. So you need to familiarize yourself with this. There's some more information on these pages, and as well as a description. So we have a description right here of the north half of the southwest quarter of section 18. Okay, so that can describe a particular place in a particular township, and so that's how we describe these places. So I'm going to pull out a soil survey manual for us to take a look at. You'll be working through questions on page 37 that will address you with a soil survey manual that you'll have electronically, and so we'll walk through that right now.